Hey guys, I'm back, and today I'm going to be talking about the information processing model of memory. Memory is the persistence of learning over time through the encoding, storage, and retrieval of information. The information processing model helps us understand how we form and retrieve memories. To remember any events, we must first encode, retain, and then retrieve the information. Let's talk about what each of these words mean. Encoding is the processing of information into the memory system through different ways. There are three main types of encoding: visual, acoustic, and semantic. Visual encoding is the process of encoding images and visual sensory information. Acoustic encoding is the process of remembering and comprehending something that you hear. Repetition and remembering songs are acoustic encoding. For example, remembering the Phineas and Ferb song after having heard it many times. Semantic encoding is a process in which the meaning of something is encoded as opposed to the sound or vision of it. For example, remembering the meaning of the word memory instead of linking it to a picture or sound. Research shows that this is the most effective type of encoding. Storage is the retention of encoded information over time. Retrieval is the process of getting information out of storage. Retrieval can be done in many different ways, such as recalling, which is a measure of memory in which the person must retrieve information learned earlier, much like a fill-in-the-blank test. Recognition, which is a measure of memory in which the person needs to identify items previously learned, much like a multiple-choice test. And relearning, which is a measure of memory that assesses the amount of time saved when learning material for a second time. There are different types of memory, including sensory memory, working memory, short-term memory, and long-term memory. Sensory memory is the immediate and brief recording of sensory information in the memory system. This is what you are currently seeing. Two examples of sensory memory are iconic memory, which is a sensory memory of visual stimuli, and echoic memory, which is a sensory measure of auditory stimuli. Short-term memory is the activated memory that holds 5 to 9 items, usually 7 at a time. Working memory is a new understanding of short-term memory that focuses on consciousness active processing of incoming auditorial and visual spatial information. End of information retrieved from long-term memory. In other words, this is part of short-term memory that is concerned with immediate conscious perceptual and linguistic processing. Long-term memory is the relatively permanent and limitless storehouse of the memory system. An example of something that could be in long-term memory is your name. Implicit memory is the retention independent of conscious recollection. This is also called non-declarative or procedural memory. Explicit memory is the memory of facts and experience that one can consciously know. This is also called declarative memory. Now let's talk about different types of processing. Automatic processing is a type of processing which involves the unconscious encoding of incidental information. Examples of this include space, time, frequency, and well-learned information, such as the meaning of words. Effortful information is the encoding that requires attention and consciousness effort, such as information for this class. Parallel processing is the processing of many aspects of a problem simultaneously. For example, when a person sees an object, they don't just see one object, but rather many different aspects that together help the person identify the object as a whole. Now, let's talk about other aspects of memory and encoding. Rehearsal is a conscious repetition of information, either to maintain it in consciousness or to encode it into storage. For example, repeating a number, say 183, over and over to either remember it for a short period of time or to move it into long-term memory. The spacing effect is the tendency for distributed study or practice to yield better long-term retention than achieved through mass study. For example, preparing for the AP exam over the month before rather than studying everything the night before. The serial position effect is our tendency to remember and recall best the first and last items of a list. Imagery can best be described as mental pictures. Mnemonics are memory aids. This includes chunking, which is the organizing of items into familiar, manageable units, such as the book breaking up into chapters by topic. Long-term potentiation is an increase in a synapse firing potential after a brief, rapid stimulation. This is believed to be a normal basis for learning and memory. But a flashbulb memory is a clear memory of an emotionally significant event. An example of this might be the memory of the first time you met someone who plays a big role in your life. Thank you guys so much for watching. I hope you guys learned something. Please stay home and stay safe.